It's your weekly breakaway for fun conversations on pro cycling and so much more. Join us as we go beyond the slipstream. I'm Matt Harper, and together with my brother Justin, we'll do deep-ish dives on bike races, movies, bands, and all manner of shiny pop cultural objects. Oh, and did I mention bike races? We're kind of obsessed. Allez! Hello and welcome to Beyond the Slipstream. I'm Matt and this is my brother Justin, and today in our first segment we'll be diving into the first full week of the first men's Grand Tour of the year, the Giro d'Italia. In segment 2, more stage racing with coverage of the men's Tour of Hungary and the 4 days of Dunkirk. We'll devote segment 3 to a conversation about the women's Itzulia Tour of the Basque Country. And no Beyond the Slipstream podcast would be complete without a ride in the Broom Wagon. Allez! Please note, this segment will contain spoilers. If you have not watched the finish of the race and wish to remain unspoiled, please jump ahead to segment 2. The Giro d'Italia entered week 1 after a great opening weekend in Albania with Mads Pedersen in the Maglia Rosa, which he'd wrested back from overall favorite Primoz Roglic with a strong sprint on Sunday's Stage 3 after Roglic had taken it from him on Stage 2's individual time trial. Mads put in a strong enough TT performance to remain within touching distance of the lead, and with the bonus seconds on offer at the finish line of Stage 3, pink was his again. He knew it wouldn't be his for long, but that didn't stop him from fighting for it, and on Wednesday's Stage 5, he pulled off an absolutely stunning win to make his 2025 Giro hat trick. Justin, we could burn through this entire segment just talking about this one sprint, but the race offered up lots more action this week, and we're going to try to cover it all. There was lots more sprinting, a big GC day with an uphill finish, a first taste of Grand Tour glory for a rider from a breakaway group, and what else? Amazing gravel action on the white roads of Tuscany today, not to mention a finish that we've been dreaming of all season long. Where shall we start?
There's so many things. I'll start with just a shout out to Astana's Lorenzo Fortunato, who is the king of the mountain right now. And I'm just loving just watching the Astana, just clean up job on points all over the place on all kinds of races this week. So he's just another one of those things that I'm just like absolutely captivated with right now. But that's like maybe the smallest part of all of the things that we could talk about in it. I mean, you started out with, Mads.
Well, wait, let me comment on
Sure.
that. I just want to say, who knew way back on episode like 6 when we were talking about what's up with this relegation thing that like this would turn out to be like one of the funnest, most exciting things to watch. And it's like even better than a Grand Tour. Forget about 3 weeks. This thing's like playing out over the entire season, and it's just delicious.
Yeah. And just, shout out to him, man. He's been mopping up those King of the Mountain points wherever he can get them. And it's just so fun to watch him out there doing his thing. It really is.
For sure. So let's just, like I said, we got a lot to get in here. We're going to try to cover it all. So Stage 3 was Sunday's stage over the weekend, and we saw Mads get his second win that day. He went back into pink after Primoz had grabbed it on day 2. And it was interesting listening to him in his post race talking about how he was like looking forward to getting rid of the pink jersey so he could just like focus on the Ciclamino and he could help out his teammate. And
I loved what he said about Ciccone that day, where he was just like, where it was just like a very tit for tat, like he helped me, I can't wait to help him. You know what I mean? Like what a great sentiment from that guy.
Right. And then the next day he did not win the big sprint. We got a win for Picnic Post NL with Casper Van Uden. We're right back into talking about the relegation story because as he comes across the line, old Rob Hatch is like, I think I wrote it down here. Rob Hatch says, hold on. Where was it? Right. He says, "What a big win that is for Picnic Post NL. My, do they need it? It's a huge victory at the Giro d'Italia, and with that, they hoist themselves out of the relegation zone."
I don't
And then
know.
he took it. And then he took a dig at Adam Blythe, who was ragging on the fact that they were wearing those arrow helmets, and we're not going to want to. They weren't going to want to get a picture at the end. He's like, Adam Blythe, they'll certainly want their pictures taken now.
Um,
So
yeah, it is very very strong sprint win from from him. Coy almost had him. If he had been in a better position with a little bit more help, I think Coy would have actually won that stage too.
yeah, yeah, Coy has been frustrated. We'll probably talk more about him.
Yeah,
So yeah, so we saw a sprint there. Coy can't pull it off. Mads was not in the mix on that one. But then we have got to talk about the Mads sprint on stage 5. This thing was just incredible. Not just Mads, but Mads and Vacek.
there was so much going on too in that sprint because you had wow like make that weird move at like 4K that you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Like he blew off the front, and you're like, is he trying to do some, because you've seen him do things like that in the past where he like, you know, catches people sleeping and like tries to just solo those last like 2 or 3K. So I wondered if that's what he was trying to do, but it never seemed like he could get it going enough that, and get the engine moving enough to be able to, make that happen.
Right, right. And the way that on this stage there was a climb with like there was like kind of a nasty climb with like maybe 2 or 3 Ks to go. And up until then, Vacek had been just bossing it for Mads on the front. The two of them were like right up in the front.
Yeah.
First clutch of riders, first 7, 8, 9 guys,
And
just maintain.
Vacek is just holding everybody back.
Yes, he's incredible. And then they get to that climb, and you catch that helicopter shot, and you're just seeing Mads just like going back and back and back and back to the point where he was like 30th rider back or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, this is done. Mads loses pink here. Uh, Mads doesn't get this. He's not even sprinting. Is what it's looking like at this point. And he he is so in tune with his own abilities, his own body, that he knows, don't burn the match here. It's going to flatten out. You got Matthias up there. Just be cool. Be cool, brother. And like he just chills out. And meanwhile, up on the front, Vacek is kind of slowing things down
Yes.
as they finish the top of that climb to give Mods a chance to get back in. Slowing, I mean, what are you saying when you say a sprinter slowing things down? I mean, there's only so much you can do. They can go around him if he goes slow enough, but it's that,
He was
that takes,
controlling the front just
yeah, yeah.
perfectly.
Controlling is it's so difficult. It's like such a difficult dance when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like you have to give the illusion that you are keeping it as fast as possible, and yet infinitesimally slow it down a little bit. And he does what he can. Pretty soon they go around him, and now it's like, okay, I got to find Mods, and I got to get it back to the front as quick as I can. And he kind of pulls off to the right a little bit, and
He
Mads
picks him
puts in a
back
pretty
up.
to get back up to him. But
Yeah.
when he picks him back up, they're 10th wheel, 11th wheel, 12th wheel. They're back. They got some ground to make up. And my man just like throws him right to the front. Like Vacek just brings him right on up to the front. And somehow,
At he's third. At some point he's got him. He's got him right in third wheel, and they hit that final turn together, and it was
right,
all over.
right, just so incredible to see him get that. And mind you, this is the same morning that the team announced that they had given Mads only the third in cycling history that we know of lifetime contract. So Wout van Aert got it, then Visma gave one to Marianne Vos, and now Trek is like, okay, we can get in on that game too, and they give it to Mads, and he wins the day. Like
Hmm.
couldn't be better in pink, no less, on the Italian team. Like it's so picture perfect. I mean, like, wow.
And I thought, of, as great as that was, Pidcock's third place was absolutely like, tremendous. Like
Phenomenal.
I didn't see that coming at all, and it was almost more impressive than Mads. I mean, you expect what you got from Mads, and the fact that he ends up pulling that third out was pretty ridiculous.
Absolutely incredible. Um, this stage also gave me a couple things I want to kind of lead into. Well, first of all, have you noticed Mods tossing the flowers out to the crowd?
Hmm.
Like there's an alternate universe where this guy's like a pro baseball pitcher because that dude can launch a flower bouquet like 70 feet. It's ridiculous. Um, uh, how about these these interviews that Hannah Walker is getting after these stages?
It's amazing. Dude, the
It's
coverage
absolutely
the coverage for this is so much better than anything else out there. TNT, who is actually producing everything, is murdering it.
it's so good. So and it's sort of different each day. I mean, we're gonna get to yesterday, but on this one, she gets the DS from Trek, the guy Maxime, and she's got a lot going on. She's in the moment or whatever, so she's going to think of what she thinks of, but she's not going to think of everything. And the way that Matt Stevens fed her that question about ask Maxime if he got on the radio to tell Vachex to slow down and wait for Mads and bring him back, and that is exactly what they did. And it was so sweet the way Stevens was like with his mind, clocking what was going on, but he wanted to know that one piece of information from the DS. Did you get on the radio and tell him, look, Matt is still in attention. You haven't lost him, buddy. Just slow down a little bit and go get him. And he tells Hannah asked the question, boom, you got your answer. So good.
Matt Stevens is a absolute perfect addition to this team.
Yeah.
He's so good,
Yeah.
it's not even funny.
Do you feel like the group is now complete? Like I'm like, okay, they finally got the group locked in. These are the four people that I want on the breakaway forever.
Yeah, I
Don't
mean,
break
don't
up
get
this
me
team.
wrong. Like Nathan Van Hooydonk was really good, but I mean, Matt Stevens
Right.
brings like another element to it from because Matt Stevens has this really great balance of like writer and journalist, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
just he has an insight that's very unique versus a lot of the because I mean there's a ton of former writer pundits out there, but
Sure.
he is eloquent in a way that
Oh,
nobody else is.
and also, did you catch? I think it was on yesterday's stage. Like, I asked some question about like some like young rider that's like just coming into our collective knowledge or whatever, and Stevens is like, he's like, oh yeah, he was on blah blah. He just rattles off like 30 seconds worth of information about this guy. And
Yeah,
Orla was like, I just want to note for the record that I did not give him any advance warning about asking about this rider. He just gave us that right off the top of his head. I mean, that's a great mind. That's the team. I want that team. I
yeah.
want that squad to be locked in. All right, so let's move on. So stage six, we got another sprint, and finally, we got a win for Caden Groves, which he's been fighting in the mix, and we like us some Caden Groves. And I believe did that not put Caden into the three Grand Tour club?
I believe so. I believe so. Um, that this rain plague stage, we also lost Jai Hindley. So Primos loses, one of his definitely, key pieces
Hmm.
that day. And it's this is also the day that they neutralized the race for a bit and then finally got it, going again. But they took away all of the there was like everybody got the same time. There was no extra points, and
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of controversy in listening to my various podcasts and stuff in the aftermath of this about like if it's so dangerous that they needed to neutralize the race, why are we still going to let them sprint? I mean, that's arguably the most dangerous part of any bike race is a super fast, high speed sprint at the end. So why are we letting these guys sprint and finish this race if it's so dangerous? I
I
mean,
mean, once they
more
got there, the tarmac was dry. Like, I don't see why they couldn't have sprinted. I mean, and they it may not have been as wet at the finish, and they may have known that already. So I mean, it's
Mhm.
hard to say. But you also had Coy getting kind of pushed into the barriers, and I can't remember who pushed him in, but they got relegated, and so that was
Yeah.
a kind of a mess. And I think that Coy was like honor wearing the Chiclamino, and I think that he could have won that stage. I think his form has been really really good, and I don't know the whole
Yeah.
end of that stage was not really great. Uh,
It would have been great to see Coy get a chance. I mean, Caden Groves came past those guys with an insane amount of speed. So I wonder if Coy would have been able to catch him. It just seemed like Caden was moving really, really fast. But
you'll
Coy
never
is
know.
also very, very fast right now. And I think had he not but I kind of put it on him because he had a chance there to go right. And he chose to go left towards the barrier. So he's I don't know. He's struggling right now, even though it seems like his speed is there. He's just making some bad decisions and stuff. So
Yeah,
hopefully
I don't know.
we got still got 2 weeks of racing. Hopefully he'll get his chances and he'll get that win. Um, okay, I've got two other notes I want to make about this stage, and we'll move on quickly. First of all, Adam Blythe getting the DS for Picnic Post NL on a FaceTime call during the breakaway. I mean, the whatever they call that was so great. And then they had the interview with Mads Pedersen with his buddy Anders, who is like apparently the two of them, like Anders is their like man on the ground. He's like their pre-race man on the ground. He's like the Hannah Walker of pre-race, sort of, or like another Hannah Walker, but um, he does a lot of those racer interviews, and he's really good friends with Mads Pedersen. And he said something about like, so Mads, I guess everything's changed now that you're out of the pink jersey this morning. Mads is like, I'm still looking at your ugly face every morning, so nothing's changed there. So great. Anyways, all right. So stage 7, we saw the first GC action of the race, with Juan Ayuso pulling up with a strong, strong stage win,
He looks
and get
on, and I know that he didn't look as strong today, and we'll get to that, but damn, he looks strong in this stage, man. Like,
he really did.
yeah, I mean, he really, really, really did. Primos looked good too, but he was out of position and missed the move at the end. So
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
know.
It was looking like he was going to lose a lot more than 4 seconds to
Hmm.
Ayuso on
But
that
then he
on
was
that
right
one.
there.
Yeah, he was just like right there. So,
Yeah,
um, but we have to mention the wonderful Hannah Walker manages to get onto the Tudor team bus,
yeah, that was
on the
crazy.
freaking bus. It was amazing. The guy was like, "Yeah, sure, come on up." And like he even got like a little tour of the bus. They didn't really like walk around with the camera to the front and the back, but he kind of pointed out like everything there. And what the detail that I really love was, she noticed how they all had like their food containers like waiting for all the riders to come back to the bus.
Yeah,
Because
because
I believe on that stage the buses were like way far away from the end of the race, so they were all just kind of hanging out, chilling. It was going to be a while before the riders get back, but you saw these like perfectly labeled Tupperwares for each one of the riders. I'm sure they have the exact same, like the exact thing that they want to eat that the chef has made for them. Like
yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure.
pretty sweet, pretty sweet. All right, so
All right,
stage 8, this was the breakaway stage.
stage 8 is maybe the wildest stage of anything that I've ever watched. I mean, definitely the wildest Giro stage that I've ever seen.
We'll
So
go
many
through it
twists
because
and
I basically did not watch any of this stage except for
oh,
the
you
end.
should go back and watch the whole thing. I mean, so many twists and turns, so many moves. It's just back and forth, and everybody gets in the mix, and it's so hard for them to get away. And then finally, Luke Plapp gets away, ends up getting the stage win. Huge win for Jaco Lula, huge win for Plappy, and I just it was great. I mean, Dylan Van Barle was in the mix. Wilco Kelderman was in the mix, and then like the super like cream of the icing on the cake for that stage is that Astana again, Diego Ulisi ends up taking the pink jersey, all right, off the breakaway, off of Primos, who they kind of didn't really contest it. And if you go
Mhm.
back and you watch some of the stuff at the end there in the interview, they kind of allude to like maybe there was some stuff going on because the Hannah ended up talking to the DS from Astana, I think it is, and like was it sounded like there was some talking between the team cars that day. So it
Oh,
was,
like they made a deal, like
yeah,
Primus is like we won't chase because we don't really want this jersey right now,
yes,
and we know how bad you guys. Yeah, interesting. Well, yeah, and then Ulisi gets to what he's from Tuscany and he gets to be the first Italian in 4 years to be wearing the pink jersey, and it's on its home roads of Tuscany, and it is the Strada Bianchi stage. So let's
yeah,
get
it's
there. That was today,
like
and it was
first Italian in like
unbelievable,
1,500 days or something.
fantastic. So
So
he didn't manage to keep it that day today, but so what? He got to wear it, and it was pretty huge. What
yes,
did happen today, Justin? Get into it.
so it is beautiful gravel chaos. So, the beginning of the stage is pretty fairly benign, some climbs, nothing major. But once you hit these gravel Tuscany roads, just everything started to just go haywire. I mean, first off, from a visual standpoint, it's maybe one of the most beautiful stages that you will ever get to see. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's like driving through the set of, Gladiator. Like it seems like you see every, perfect vista of the Tuscan, landscape. And it's just absolutely utterly beautiful. And then the gravel starts coming in. You get some crazy visuals with the gravel, and there was like some dark clouds rolling in. It was so ominous, but like
And then
it,
let's not forget the stage with all that gorgeousness. Then at the end, you also get
yeah,
the exact same finish into Siena that you get with Strada Bianca. Literally the same at the climb and into the you know, incredible,
yeah.
incredible.
And you know, Primos wrecks. Then Primos has a mechanical. He gets knocked back 2 minutes off of the front group, and Ayuso is struggling to maintain with the front group. And who does the front group end up being? But UAE's Isaac Del Toro, and we'll just say it, Wout Van first. All
Yeah,
right.
Wout Van First with Egan Bernal and Brandon Rivera. This is just like the like just a dream group to have in the front of this race. I mean, Egan is like on the come up. He rides well on gravel, even though he was taken out in that gravel race like earlier this year. He did a collarbone, like I cannot remember the name of that race,
Yeah.
um um but yeah, so he's kind of arguably the weakest of the three in a way, but he's got a teammate with him. So you got Brandon Rivera there to kind of offset his perhaps his weakness or whatever. But I mean, just having him there in the mix like that, wearing that beautiful Colombian national champions jersey, what a tantalizing group those four. I mean, that was
Yeah.
just fantastic. So what happened?
So eventually, Wout and Del Toro get away, and Wout just sits on Del Toro for like 15K. Lets Del
Yeah.
Toro do all the work all the way into Siena, and after this insanely brutal, beautiful climb up in the very very tight streets of Siena, Wout Van Aert finally gets the redemptive win that he has been seeking for so long on a major stage win, and of course it's got to be like this stage. Like this is like the Wout stage of stages. So like I'm sure that they had this circled, but the fact that he was able to pull it off, able to finish it out, and just the elation on his face. And God, it's just got to feel so good for him to get this monkey off his back to where now he can loosen up and ride and hopefully do even more, in this race.
And I'd just like to point out this plays into my theory when we've been discussing Wout and his woes all season long, um, and I said at some point a couple months ago that like perhaps we need to stop thinking about Wout van Aert as a classics rider and start understanding that this man's true ability lies in Grand Tour stage racing. That is what he is good at. This is where this man succeeds, and he's proven it once again. Um, so thrilled to see him get this win. He just needed it so bad, and he said in his post race interview he felt kind of bad about sitting on Del Toro's wheel, but he did what he had to do. I mean, that's
That's
bike
racing,
racing.
baby.
That's why it's so great. And in the end, I don't think Del Toro is too upset about it because my man is in the pink jersey now, and he is clearly the leader of this team.
I mean,
I mean, he was
it's
nearly
hard.
as
I
strong.
mean, how do you not ride for him when he's got, however much time he's got even on Ayuso? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? An embarrassment
So
of riches that team has because he's the number 3 guy in that equation.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Like the embarrassment of riches for sure. So, um, what an incredible week of racing, capped off with an absolutely incredible day. We are both thrilled because boy, Visma Lease Bike and Wout Van Aert have been having their struggles this season.
Oh yeah.
There's been some bright spots. There's all provided by guys named Matt. Um, but yeah, today was very gratifying. So we are going to leave it right there. Please stay with us, and we're going to be right back. Please note, this segment will contain spoilers. If you have not watched the finish of the race and wish to remain unspoiled, please jump ahead to segment 3. The 2025 Men's Tour of Hungary took place this week exactly 100 years after the inaugural event in 1925. And though there have been long periods over the years where the race was not run, this year's race marks the 11th year in a row that it has. 2020 winner Attila Valter, the current champion of Hungary, was not on hand for the racing action in and around Budapest in central Hungary this year, but plenty of good sprinters were, including the likes of Dylan Groenewegen, Phil Bauhaus, Juan Sebastian Molano, Danny Van Poppel, and Sam Welsford. Meanwhile, in northern France, the 4 Days of Dunkirk stage race concluded today with success after success for riders from Great Britain, with 3 stage wins and the GC. The race, which actually has 5 stages, lets us feel like the spring classics are still in effect, with plenty of cobbled action and severe weather. Justin, where shall we start? Hungary or Dunkirk?
Let's start in Hungary. Um, Crazy like stage 1 sprint win from Danny Van Poppel where they actually like tricked the commentator, and originally the commentator had called it for Sam Welsford, and it was like very very strange in the end, but Danny ends up winning the first stage with a really really beautiful sprint.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that thing that you mentioned.
Yeah.
What I did catch was an absolutely incredible lead out for Milano, that Van Poppel just like took advantage of, and he actually won that with a pretty clean set of wheels. Very convincing stage win for a guy who has spent a lot of his career as a lead out man. So, um, one can be happy for Van Poppel to get a win for himself, and because it was the first stage a race leader's jersey.
He is a bad boy in the sport too. He's one of our guys that I think he got a yellow card earlier this year.
Yeah, what did I say? Dirt. They call him Dirty Van Poppel.
Stage 2 sees Van Poppel win again, but go back if you haven't. At 2.2 kilometers, a rider hits a road sign and literally snaps the plate of it in half. It comes right off of the pole. It's
Well,
crazy.
I will have to go back and watch that. I missed that. But what I didn't miss, and which I will never be able to erase from my memory, unfortunately, is the UAE rider that goes down in that huge crash. There was an enormous crash in this stage, like in a massive crosswind. And did you see what I'm talking about? Where the guy face plants, and then
Yes.
another rider literally flies over him and lands on his head, and you see his helmet like, like, thank God. he had a helmet on. Of course, he had a helmet on. He's a professional bike rider, but like his skull would have been crushed. This guy landed with his entire body on top
Oh
of this
yeah.
dude's head. It was not pleasant to watch. And of course, I couldn't even do him the justice of looking his name up, which guy it was. But good lord, that was nasty. So you get a pretty nice second win in a row from Van Poppel on this stage. He had zero help from his team. He freelanced basically the entire day after that crash. Like his team was in disarray, and comes through and takes a second win.
Yeah, and very convincing win too. Like it was interesting to see him do this 2 days in a row, and it's like you know that he's a strong rider, but like I don't know. I don't think I expected to see what I saw out of him this week in this race.
And I didn't expect to catch the amount of humility that he put forth in his post race interview from the guy that they call Dirty Van Poppel. Very insightful, very humble. So yeah, I'm softening on Danny Van Poppel. Stage three, we saw Harold Martin Lopez of Astana XDS going into the the GC lead with a big win, yet another win in the ongoing relegation saga. I mean, with a team that is just an absolute points scoring juggernaut at this point. Break down for me where they're at in the standings points wise this year.
So through the 18th, right, which is today, it looks like they're in third place for the year with
UAE's first and Lidl Trek is second. They're
yes,
third, right?
and then they are third, and then it looks like I don't know what this weekend. I don't know what today is going to do to those standings on the like the 3 year standings it's like the cumulative standings, but I don't know, man. They had two jerseys in the Giro going into today, so they had the mountain jersey, they had the Maglia Rosa, and they have the GC win today. So it's I don't know, man. They're like it's going to be interesting to see where that cumulative points total goes in the coming week because it'll
Mm-hmm.
update. At least it says that it updates on Pro Cycling Stats on Tuesdays.
Oh, I was literally pulling up PCS right now to look it up.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
no,
I'm pretty sure that it said when I was looking it up earlier that it doesn't update till Tuesday.
hmm hmm yeah. All right. Well, it's quite interesting, and I think we were shouting out this Lopez guy earlier in the season as someone to watch. Um, he's really solid and a very kind of steadfast, just like not flamboyant and boisterous kind of a guy. But he grabs a race leader's jersey in stage three.
Oh, and he was
Um,
in the mix. He was in the mix in today's stage too. The end stage, where Juan Sebastian Milano won the stage. But I mean, he was still like not far behind. I feel like he was in like the third group back coming through the line.
yeah, he got like seventh or eighth or something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, he wasn't in the mix to win the stage. He was never winning this stage, but you're right. He was there defending that leader's jersey, which he needed to defend. Um, Stage four saw another very big name of today and the past finally get a big win this year, and that was Dylan Groenewegen from Team Jaco Alula
Oh
on
shit.
this
Yeah.
like
Sorry,
crazy.
that was stage three, not four. That was three. My bad. I actually skipped the winner
What
of
was
stage
three?
three. That was my fault.
No, stage three, the winner was Harold Lopez. We just talked about that. Then stage
Oh,
four is
I have them. Okay,
Groenewegen.
my bad.
You
I have them misordered in my notes.
Yeah. So Groenewegen wins on stage four. It's bizarre, like 3.3 kilometer finishing circuit. I've never seen a finishing circuit this short.
But it
When
was
you looked at the
cool.
race profile, it looked like a EKG or something like that. Um, and honestly, it looked like they had completely screwed this thing up when you watch. He had three teammates there leading him out, but in the last kilometer of the race, they were all over the place. Two of them were together, one of them was off to the side, and Groenewegen wasn't anywhere near them. He was way off
No,
to
no,
the
no.
right when
They looked
they were.
back, and it was the two of them together, and he was not there.
Yeah, you're just like, and I mean, it caught everybody by surprise. He was over on the other side of the road. Nobody could find him, and he comes through and wins convincingly.
Yes, yes, he
Van
does.
Poppel took Van Poppel took second, which was pretty damn impressive too, because he was way back and had to go around a whole bunch of guys to get in there. Um,
Yeah, he came out of nowhere on the other side.
yeah, and then finally on stage five, we saw yet another sprinter get the win that he had been looking for the entire time, and that
Yeah,
was Juan Sebastian Milano from UAE Emirates, who honestly could have won many of the stages, many of these sprints. He was thereabouts, like in the mix on every one of these previous three sprint stages, and he finally got his on stage five. A good race.
yeah, absolutely. It was
Anything
fun
else
to
to say
watch.
about it before we move on to Dunkirk?
So real quick, we'll talk about it's the classique Dunkirk. Did you watch that, the little 1 day precursor?
I sure did, and let's just point out that what happened here is they decided to turn this race into a 1 day race and then a 5 day race, and they call it the 4 days. um, because, and this gets back into the whole relegation points thing. Um, they structured it this way because having a 1 day race and then having this other race can give teams more opportunities to get points and therefore make this a more desirable thing for teams to come and participate in. So that's what they did: a 1 day race in front and then a 5 day race afterwards. What happened in the 1 day race?
Pascal Ackerman edges our boy Benny and Gramai out for the win. It was pretty much just a sprint day. You know what I mean? A lot of riding, and then a tight sprint at the end. And Benny M almost had him, but in the end, it was Pascal Ackerman pulling out the win, and just by about a tire's width.
Yeah, and a great win given the fact that he was only in the single digits in terms of race days this year because he did his collarbone earlier in the
Hmm.
season. Biniam came from way back. He almost got it. He was extremely frustrated, and I think even more so because he was not on the roster for the 4 days
Yep,
race. So that's
it was his one opportunity in that spot.
exactly. So um, interesting little thing I noticed when they showed the leaderboard at the end of the stage. With all the riders, they do not have a graphic for the national flag of Eritrea. I thought that was a
I
little
didn't. I did
negligent
not notice that.
on behalf of the racers. Um,
All right, so let's get into stage one of the 4 days of the four days. That's actually 5 days of Dunkirk.
hmm hmm AKA the Grand Prix des Hauts-de-France. This was a this is a this thing started in 55 as a 4 day race. That's why it's called that. 63 they added an ITT, making it 5 stages, and then since then it's always been 5 or 6 stages. Stage one um,
Axel
saw
Zingle.
yeah Axel Zingle from Lisa Bike,
Yep.
a rider who hasn't gotten a win for that team in the several riders that who have won this year. Um, so that was cool to see there. Also, very happy to see Alberto Bettiol back in action. He's had kind of a tough spring with a lot of illness, but he's sporting the Italian national champions jersey,
Yep.
and he was mixing it up throughout this race.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yeah, Zingle is a really fun rider to watch, man. Like he's got that sweet like finishing power, little power sprint that's a little different than like the mad style sprint. And he's the guy that, if you remember last year, I can't remember what race it was, but he had like a mad bunny hop like over another rider that wrecked. Like he's
Yes,
cool, man.
I do remember that. Yeah. All right. So on stage two, we got the first um, of what is it? Three Englishmen winning
Yeah.
stages in this race with a win for Lewis Askey from Groupama FDJ. Um,
Yeah, he almost popped out of his clip on the line. Or he did pop
insane.
out of his clip, but I mean, it was like at the last second.
Insane. It was literally his last pedal stroke, and
Yes.
his shoe goes flying out, and he is able to pull it together and still raise his hands with the wind. But Zingle maintained the leader's jersey.
That was his
As
second
Askey,
pro win in a week.
who
Lewis Askey, because he had
Askey?
won in something else earlier, like within 5 or 6 days of that, he had won something last weekend.
Yeah, yeah. And I did want to mention that this race also gave me one of my favorite visuals in all of cycling, which is the just intensely dark colored and enormous beard of Jeffrey Soup participating in this race. Stage 3, we saw a win for Pierre Gouttara from Decathlon AG2R La Mondiale.
Yeah,
Really fantastic move on
yeah,
this
he
one.
edged Zingle and eventual winner Jake Stewart, or eventual stage 5 winner Jake Stewart, and whew, what a sprint that was, man! That thing was like wild.
Yeah, and Zingle by getting 30 picked up 4 bonus seconds, which solidified his grip on first because he was in first over Askey, but only because he did better on the stage that Askey won than Askey did on the stage that he had won. So
Right.
that's why he was in first. They were on the same time, and so so on stage 2, Askey moved up into second, pushing Swift down into third. Then on stage 3, Gutterat moves up into second. Askey gets pushed down to third. It's just like crazy because these time margins are so small. These guys are just like moving all around.
Yep.
But yeah, really cool course over the cobbles on that stage. Stage 4. Here's your second Englishman taking a win, Sam Watson from the resurgent Ineos Grenadiers.
Yes, and then Askey ends up taking the GC lead from Zingle because Zingle crashes out.
Yeah, which was a complete mystery during the stage. All of a sudden, like they're just rolling along, and then a abandoned graphic pops up, and Jose Bain is just like, "Am I seeing this right? Like, is that what is this?" And
Yeah.
like, you never saw the crash or anything. He was just like, all of a sudden, he was gone.
Yep.
Ben Swift in the mix, just totally going nuts in this race, as always, throughout this entire race. Great sprint finish from Watson. The guy from Movistar in second, Carlos Canal, was just like furious at himself, banging on the bars. And that makes 2 wins in 3 weeks for Sam Watson because let's not forget he just won the prologue over in Romany.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Hashtag Ineos Rebirth Project, man. This
Yeah,
team,
no kidding.
I'm loving this. And he, with this win, he was able to grab the lead in the GC. So now we got Ineos in a leader's jersey on top of everything else.
And eventually taking the general classification in this race, which is another huge win for Team Rebuilt Ineos.
That's right. That's right. So
These
the
guys are
fifth
finding
stage,
ways to win in the right, in when they can, and they were in the mix in the Giro today. I mean, they had 2 riders where nobody else
yeah,
had 2 riders in those front groups. So
yeah, yeah. It's just like a whole different ball game with this team. Stage
really is.
5, we had the third Englishman to take a stage win in this race. That was Jake Stewart from Israel Premier Tech, who did a hell of a sprint to win this one as well. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Also, wanted to point out both Stewart and Askey in the post race interviews were totally rocking some French, which I always love when
Yes.
you see an English speaker doing another language. Always makes me happy because 99% of the time it's the other way.
Yep.
So a good little race.
Yeah.
Some
Both of them were pretty
some
good, man.
good stuff to watch. We're going to leave it there, and we'll be back talking Itzulia Women in just a few. Stay with us. Don't miss the Team Bus, our weekly companion podcast to the main Beyond the Slipstream show. Our domestique, if you will, dropping every Wednesday in your usual podcast feed. Please note, this segment will contain spoilers. If you have not watched the finish of the race and wish to remain unspoiled, please wait to listen until you've had a chance to catch up. The women's Itzulia Basque Country stage race concluded today after 3 days of racing in the north of Spain with an overall GC win by Demi Vollering of Team FDJ Suez that surprised exactly no one given her current form. Hot off of her overall win in the Vuelta a España Femenina last week, Vollering got it done on the only stage where she could, today's stage 3, which saw her ride away from the bunch and never look back. In winning, she managed to break the stranglehold that Team SD Works Pro Time has had on this race. Justin, please describe said stranglehold and Demi's complicity in building it up before she finally brought it down today.
So, since this race debuted, this is the 4th iteration. SD Works has won every single stage of this race that has ever existed. So up until today, it was like 11 straight stages. I think it's like 3 stages each year. And so it was 11 straight stages for SD Works. Stage 1 sees Misha Bradenbold edge Millie Cousins and Margot Viget. And
off of
really
an incredible
nice win for her.
From Steffi Haberlin. Mm-hmm. But we have to mention though, Demi was responsible for many of those wins in the past.
Two out of the three overall GCs were hers in the previous year. So this will actually be the 3rd time that she's won this race.
Right. And I did not look up to see like how many stages she may have won of those 9 where she was riding for SD Works, but kind of funny that the person who finally undid SD Works' stranglehold is one of the people who helped put that stranglehold in place in the first. Yeah.
It was cool. Misha Bradenbold, I mean, you cannot take away what she did over the 3 days. Second in the GC and 2 stage wins, and she looked, very strong, very convincing in both of her wins. And, sorry, go ahead.
Let's not mince words. She definitely benefited from the fact that there was no Voss, Vibis, or Cole at this race. That said, you're correct. She was all over it.
Yep. Yeah, she was.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so for Demi today, this is her 3rd GC here. This was her 51st and 52nd win of her career. All right. And, when you see her in the post-race interview, she basically says, I knew I had to go. So, she launches this breakaway solo attack at the end, hoping to put enough time into Bradenbold to be able to, end up taking it. And she does it with, ease. I think she ended up having close to a minute on her. So, just goes to show that she's Demi Vollering and she is everything that she's billed to be.
I did not see the post-race interview. Did she seem happier? Remember last week I was just like, she seems sad. Like this woman seems very sad right now.
Yeah, I feel like she was happier. Like, definitely seemed like it was a positive interview, if I remember.
She did like the mental health thing last week and that whole dedication and everything. So I hope she's good. I love her. Bradevold, I love her too. First of all, how about her profile picture? Like at the end of the race when like they show the leaderboard and they have the winner's face like lit up, like she's got this like insane head of hair.
Yes, it's funny that you say that because I have absolutely noticed it.
Yeah, it's like cyclists are wearing helmets. You don't really see their hair. Sometimes you see a ponytail dangling down the back, like
it's almost always tied up. You never see them with their hair down.
Right, and so sometimes it's just like so shocking when you get that photo. It's like, oh wow, that's what you look like. Wow. but she's also very expressive in her post race interviews, and I really like her a lot. I'm forward to continuing to follow that woman's career, and I hope for big things from her because she was a lot of fun in her interview when she won something in I think she won, didn't she win a stage in the in the Tour of Spain for the women last week or whatever. I remember her winning something and giving a great interview as
I
well.
don't know, man. I digested so much racing this week. It's hard to.
She did. It's when she won. She won like the second stage, and then she got the leader's jersey, and then um, Anna von der Breggen won that stage afterwards. And I remember her being so excited for Anna, and she was like when she was in the leader's jersey. So yeah, she's
Yeah, you're
she's
absolutely
good
right.
stuff. I like me some Misha Bradewald. I like me some Demi Vollering. Um, there's not a ton to say about a 3-day race that had two sprints and then a kind of climby finish. But that's probably good because we went way long on our first two segments. So unless you have anything else to say, we will be right back with a quick little ride in the Broom Wagon. Stay with us. All right, we are back and we are going to take another ride in the broom wagon. And Justin, I have to say, I am so excited for your topic as I'm looking at your show notes because I literally just clocked this available on Max as I was scrolling down to find yet another race replay to watch for preparation for today's show. And lo and behold, you've already watched it. Do tell.
Okay, so I haven't watched it all, but doing the exact same thing. I'm on Max. I'm scrolling down, and in the sports section, I see the Red Bull soapbox race, and I'm like, "What is this?" So curiosity gets the better of me, and I click on it, and right now there are 3 episodes of it, but the Red Bull soapbox race, and I'm going to read this directly from Wikipedia, uh, is a soapbox race organized at least once a year by Red Bull. During its final phase, amateur pilots challenge one another, presenting handmade motorless vehicles judged for their aesthetics, their speed, and their road handling. Originality and extravagance play an even greater role in the competition, as each team is also rated for their showmanship, and their soapboxes are often inspired by folklore, pop culture, motorsport, or everyday life themes in their creation. All right. Some notable examples include Pokemon based carts, playful reproductions of the Pope Mobile, and Mr. Bean's Mini. So what this is a soapbox race where you get to build these amazing like soapbox racers. They put it on a crazy course with like bumps and turns and water obstacles, and it's insane. Okay, so I click on the first episode and I'm running through it, and one of the first things that I note from the commentators is it's in England. I wish I had wrote down exactly where it was. Um, there's 18,000 people at this race.
Wait, race
18,000.
Wait, racing in the race
No, no, like
or
spectators.
like watch spectator. Wow,
Yes,
good, beautiful.
like an insane amount. I had no idea, and it is this wild, wacky, like creative race of just utter chaos and art, and it's just so much fun. And I'm gonna absolutely digest all of it and try to follow along with it, but I can't recommend if you want just something to brainlessly watch that is really fun and creative. The Red Bull soapbox race on Max. It really is the
Unbelievable.
the neatest thing.
This is so in my wheelhouse. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's got all the stuff I like. I'm a guy who's watched like a whole lot of like Top Chef. I've watched Project Runway with my wife. I've watched Lego Masters with the kids. Like any of these things where it's like people like building cool stuff or designing cool stuff or cool dishes. I watched the Drink Masters thing. Like I'm in. I love those kind of those kind of shows. Then you get the racing aspect into it. Obviously, I'm into racing. Um,
Right. Well,
then you get the showmanship. I mean, I love the fact that it's not just how fast they go, who wins the race, but it's the showmanship. Like,
dude, these things are
th-
crazy. There was one that was like it was like a guy on a motorcycle, like doing a wheelie, and like the other guy in the soapbox with him is like covered in like grass, so it looks like he's a bush or something, and like it's just wild. And they wreck. There's like hay bales. They like hit these things, and it's like, bam, the wheels come off. They flip over. It's nuts.
This is gonna be like the Sunday night show for the family for the next like 3 weeks. This is it. We're watching this. They don't know it yet, but they have no choice in the matter. We're freaking watching this thing. All right, that's a great recommendation.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep mine brief. The reason we had to record so late today is because I ran a 5K this morning with the kids. This is the third year in a row. It's called the Girls on the Run 5K. Girls on the Run is like a program for elementary school girls that, you run after school a couple days a week for a few months, and then you do it. There's a 5K at the end. And so I just want to recommend to folks, if you have it in you, go out and run a 5K. It's a perfect like starter, thing to do if you're trying to like jumpstart your fitness or just sort of gauge what your fitness is at. You can train up for a 5K in a short amount of time. It's not like trying to train for a marathon or a 100-mile bike ride or anything like that. Like you can, this is a manageable thing for most people. And it's a fun thing to do. And there's 5Ks all over the place. The chances are if you sign up for one of these things, you're probably going to be paying an entry fee that helps somebody. It's probably going to be a charity thing for something or whatever. It's just a good day out. Most of them start pretty early in the morning, so you're going to have your whole day left, and you're going to feel great because you just ran a 5K. So you got some good exercise in. Maybe you did something nice for a good cause, or you got to spend some time with some friends or your kids or your loved ones or whatever. So just go out, find yourself a 5K and go run it and have some fun. You will thank me for the recommendation later. And that is all for this week. Join us next week for full coverage of week 2 of the Giro d'Italia, a review of the women's Vuelta a Burgos, and we'll even squeeze in some United States racing action with coverage of the Gran Premio NYC and the U.S. National Road Race Championships. Until then, for my brother Justin, I'm Matt Harper. Thanks for listening. We hope you'll join us again soon on another ride beyond the slipstream. Ale! Beyond the Slipstream is a production of Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe, smash that button, leave a 5-star review, and most importantly, tell all your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Ale!